Is Nelson Akujimi and Ola Daniel still hanging out via Zoom. Nelson, now the ASUU crisis dates back to 2009, 25 years ago. If we truly value education, why should we still be dealing with this issue in 2024?
Well, we will continue to deal with those issues because those are the realities, staring us all in the face on a daily basis. What I would just want to say is that one expects that before now, ASUU must have engaged with the government with regard, because this is a new government in the saddle. But the fact remains that government is a continuum. We cannot run away from, the agreements your predecessors have signed into. But as a patriotic organization or union, one expects ASUU to have entered into, discussions with the government to say, oh, this is an agreement we have reached with the federal government of Nigeria. These are the parts that have been met. These are the parts that have been unmet. How are we going to ensure that there's industrial harmony in the ivory towers? Because if ASUU is threatening strike at every point in time, it means even the institutions of learning have failed in one critical aspect for their being set up, which is to research into societal problems. Is it that the university, as an institution for research and learning, cannot research and find a way around resolving their problems other than resort to strike? So for me, as much as I agree that whoever has entered into an agreement must abide by it.
Must abide by it. Right.
But I would encourage ASUU to embrace dialogue and stop, these regular threats of strike. The damage the strikes have done to our educational system is irreparable.
Right. Oladanis, quickly, ASUU last went on a protracted 8-month strike from February to October in 2022 over the same demands, which the government has yet to address. Now, this has really crippled the system. What's the way out?
Well, we know that governance is a continual process. There's continuity in government. And if that is the case, this started way back from 2009. So if there is some agreement, I think it is appropriate. I'm not really bothered about the 21 days ultimatum, but what I'm bothered about is for the government representative or the government in court not to sit back and allow this whole thing degenerate perhaps to the last day, because what you will see next is government going to court to get an order to stop ASUU from, proceeding on strike. When you have number of days that you can actually call these people, to its table and discuss a way out and discuss how because we can't, strike cannot, for instance, they went on strike for 8 months. Did he give the result? Did he dance to all the terms of the agreement? We are still on the same page. So it cannot be the solution. But then, who can find the solution? Both parties. We have to come to the table to discuss a way out. So I expect that at this point, the government needs to come out and call us, okay, what are the issues? Let's look at it. Now, some of these things are laws, and some of these need to be implemented. Now, you can see what is happening about the autonomy.
Okay.
The panel have been constituted.
Oladanis, can you hear me?
This thing can work. The same way should apply to this. I think
Oladanis, quickly, I want to put this to you quickly. Hello? Oladanis, can you hear me quickly?
When it's about, the time for.
All right, I think we're having issues with the connections. Nelson, very quickly, do you think it's on the part of ASUU, are they sensitive enough to bring up this issue now in this critical moment where we just came out of a protest that almost crippled the country due to hardship?
If those issues are issues that are critical to the existence of the educational institutions,
right,
I don't think there's any better time to bring it out than now. These are, for example, they said earned wages or earned allowances. If somebody has worked, for crying out loud, a laborer deserves his wages.
Yes, absolutely.
So one expects that ASUU, based on the existing demands, would meet with the government at a round table and iron out these things.
But one would expect that these agreements have been going back and forth with previous administrations. Why didn't they also do the best they could do to actually meet some part of it You know, but now it's looking like the whole thing is trickling down, and every administration that comes keeps inheriting it because others did not do what they're supposed to do.
Once a problem has not been solved, whoever comes
inherits it.
Because you can't sweep it under the carpet.
Absolutely.
It will spring out. So that is what we are facing. So one expects that the present administration will sit down with ASUU and look at how we can find a lasting and enduring solutions to these demands. I don't know all the demands, but some of the demands, if one really looks at them, one is an opportunity. There might be demands that one expects the government to have played this part, but the government is lacking the ability to do so. Maybe because of finance, and if you're unable to meet your financial needs now, you can spread it over a tenure, and you get the understanding of the other party. So one expects that I'm happy that I read in the news that the federal government is meeting with the leadership of ASUU. One hopes that something fruitful will come out of that. All
right, thank you very much. Olayinka Daniels, thank you so much for joining us on the show this evening. Because of time, we just cannot push further. I know there are other issues I feel we should actually thrash out on this. Thank you so much for joining us. Nelson, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you very much for having me.